Hey everyone, it's Three Questions with Monica Simmons. All right,
Okay.
Monica, here we go. I love it. Okay, Monica Simmons is a superintendent at Elysian Fields. Am I saying that right?
You got it.
Oh, yeah. So I'm actually going
Sounds
to be out.
good.
I'm going to be out there with your leadership team in July. So I am like, by the way, you are one of the easiest people I've ever met in my life. Like you are just so easy to connect with, and
I
just
pride myself on trying to
you
be
do.
nice and kind.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we talked and like it was like 3 seconds later, I was booked to come to join you. And I'm like, can you train everybody?
I can do that. I told you already, I can just be
Love
your
it.
partner. Hey, we're going to just start a
Let's do it.
monthly podcast and I'm just going to join you. We're
Let's
going
do
to make
it.
that happen.
Yeah, because like that, I know this sounds weird, but like, my big focus, and this is innovation, and it's like really hard to be innovative when people are like just putting up red tape for everything, right? And just so like, if we want to get stuff done, we got to like get some of this stuff out and just let's go, right? So
Hey, I'm like,
I
let's
love
just
it.
be open, honest. Let's go.
I love it. So Monica is superintendent. She's done pretty much when I talked to her before, she's done like every job in education ever. So she's like going on. I'm like, hey, you gotta stop because you've done everything. So she's been teacher, school administrator, superintendent as well. So I know that you have a lot of amazing educators at Elysian Fields. I feel every time I talk to you, such a pride in where you are right now and your community. But when you think of a teacher who really inspired you, whether it's someone you worked with, someone you had as a kid, who's someone you think of and why?
Oh my gosh, look, I cannot narrow it down to just one teacher. I got to be honest with you. I actually have two,
Okay,
okay?
all right.
Okay, so the very first teacher that comes to my mind, her name is Mrs. Cawley. Like I had her two times. The first time I had her was when I was in third grade in Carthage, Texas.
Mhm.
When I tell you how dynamic she was one of those teachers that was just an influencer. She knew how to get down the nitty gritty and connect with her students. And she just made every student in that classroom, especially me, just feel relevant and important. And she is probably one of the reasons that I'm in education today. So I had her in third grade, and then she decided to leave, run off for a little bit, and then she came back to Carthage. And when she came back to Carthage, she was actually my sixth grade ELA teacher. And even then, switching campuses, switching grade levels, she was still as dynamic the second time that I had her. I was like, oh my gosh, I want to go home with her because she was that mother figure. I love Miss Colley, still love her till today. Not sure where she is at, but hey, I need to find her, locate her.
Well,
So
hopefully she's watching. That's the hope, right?
better be watching
Yeah.
exactly because she will know, hey, look, I made a difference in that young
I
lady's
love it.
life.
I love
Hey,
it.
the second teacher that I instantly think about, and I have reconnected with her. It's been a couple of years, but after I graduated, got into education, and decided, hey, I want to go into administration, I did reach out to her, and her name is Mrs. Penny Boone. So let me tell you why Mrs. Penny Boone is significant to me. Don't you love that
I
name?
love it.
That's
I
the
love
first thing. Hello, Penny Boone. But when I was in high school, I decided to join this work co-op program, and it was actually called HECE. Now, I don't know anything about working or anything because I'm an only girl with three brothers, and my dad kind of spoiled me. Didn't have to work, but I was like, hey, think I want to work. Don't want to work after school. Think I'll work during the day. So that is why I joined this work program when I was in the 11th grade. And so what they do is at the high school, they would bus us over to the primary campus, and we would go over there for 2 hours, and we would just work with students as a lunch monitor. We would go in the classrooms. We get to interact with teachers, interact with students. We get to do a little grading. We get to do a little reading. That's all I did. And I did that my junior year and also my senior year. That's when I realized, hey, I actually like kids. Before that, I did a little babysitting, but I'm going to tell you, I was not a very good babysitter. One time I actually got fired by the child I was babysitting because I was just mean. Did not even know I was mean. He hated me. So I probably kept him two times. The second time that I kept him, he literally called his mother while I was there and was like, Mom, fire the babysitter. I did not get to go back and babysit that kid ever again. But then I transitioned to this role.
I love it.
HUCE was the work program, and I had the opportunity to go reconnect. And I was like, oh, I actually like kids. I think I can do this job. And so Penny Boone instilled that in me. But listen, even at that time when I knew I loved children, I knew I loved education, knew that I loved that classroom environment and that educational setting, I still tried to challenge God. So, because I'm a believer.
Mhm.
And so when I first, got ready to graduate and everything, I was like, hey, I think I want to be a nurse because I wasn't trying to listen and obey what God had already told me
Okay.
I needed to be doing for 2 years. And so when I first went to Panola, I was like, I think I want to be a nurse. This is what I'm going to try out. Well, needless to say, visited a few nursing homes. Well, I learned very, very quickly nursing was not for me.
Right.
And that education was for me. So then I had to go back to Mrs. Penny Boone and everything that she taught me. I had to remember Mrs. Cotley and all of the values and things that she instilled in me. And I had to
Wow.
know, oh my gosh, I love these two ladies. They're my role models. They're my inspiration. Education is what I'm supposed to be doing. So hands down, Mrs. Cotley, Mrs. Penny Boone, those are my two role models as former teachers that taught me. Bam.
Yeah. So first of all, I don't even know why I'm on this podcast. You just need your own show. Like
My son tells me, he tells me all
you
the
need
time,
your own show.
he's
You
like,
need your own
Mom,
show.
you're so dramatic
I
and
love
you're
it.
so extra. He was like, I think you need to do a podcast. I was like, I don't think so.
Extra
And
is
then
a
I told him
compliment.
about this experience, and he was like, this is going to be interesting
I
because
love it. I
I'm
love
just going
it.
to be truthful. So if you ask
Oh,
it, I'll give you an answer.
I love the one thing you said about your first teacher that you mentioned is I caught it, especially me. Jared, especially, but you know what? I guarantee you a bunch of kids have the exact same, they say the exact same thing. And that's what makes, amazing teachers
Yeah,
that they make every kid extremely, feel extremely special. And
correct.
that really resonated with me. And but I'm just gonna, whatever pre-workout or energy drink you're having over there, I cannot wait to get my hands on it because
Woo! Wait to see what it's like in person. And
I
here's the
can't
deal.
wait. I can't wait. All right. Okay. Next
Okay, here we
question.
go.
I
Next
know
question.
you've been you've been an administrator. I know you're working as superintendent. When you think of a great principal, great school leader, who's someone you think of and why?
Oh God, you ready for this? You
I
are
am.
not going to believe
I don't
my
know if I
answer.
am actually. I don't know if I am ready.
You may not be ready for this.
Yeah.
Okay, hands down, my favorite principal, Paul Prince. Paul Prince, because number one, he's as tall as I am. Now, you have not met me in
No.
person, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you it is no secret. Monica Simmons is a virtually challenged. When I say that I'm virtually challenged, that just means that I'm height challenged. You're looking at a little petite lady that is about 5'1". You look at me when I walk down the hallway. It is a good thing that I wear heels most days of the week, that I put a little blazer on, do a little something with my hair, because if not, you would say, who is that student? Why is she roaming the hallway? Because that's what I look like. Thank God I'm very blessed with some good genetics. However, Paul Prince is what reminds me of me, because I'm talking little petite man, but let me tell you, little Paul Prince could bring the thunder when I was in high school. So he was one of the high school assistant principals, but he was one though, even though he was, I'm talking mean as a copperhead, he'd constantly be out in the hallway. He was one that liked to roam, liked to be up in your business. He'd just pop up as we're having various conversations and things. But he would interact with us. I think that's why I really remember him. He knew how to form those relationships. He would laugh, he would joke, but at the same time, he was firm. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not much of a fighter, but there was one particular time in high school I kind of just snapped just for a temporary moment. And let me just tell you, Paul Prince had to discipline me. Never got us paddling in my life, but this one time, one time. Maybe that's
There
why
you
I
go.
remember
There you
Paul
go.
Prince,
That
because
would be
just
a good reason.
one time, he tapped me one time, and let me tell you, it resonated. And I tell you what, have not had another fight in my life. That was the last fight. Well, probably my only fight and last fight,
What was
but
that?
hey, but he held me accountable. But at the same time, he held me accountable even after disciplining me. He still loved me. Like we still had that same relationship where we could laugh and joke. But I knew he was about his business, and he didn't care who you were, what your last name was. You can get it too. That's what I know.
Oh my. We gotta give that one. Oh my. I don't know if I'm giving that to your principal or to you, but this is something, when I'm hard on my oldest daughter, because she kind of understands stuff, I'll say to her, why is dad doing this? And she says, because he loves me. And
That's right.
that's it. It's like,
That's
not
it.
some people think letting stuff go is a sign of love. And I'm like, no. Right.
Oh no.
Some of my closest friends, I'll say something I know I'm being critical, but listen to me. If I didn't say anything, it's because I don't like you. Right?
Well, I
Yeah,
think
because
that is what's that is what's missing right now,
yeah,
not even just from education, just from
yeah,
society. Hold everybody accountable. Be honest. If you
yeah,
are a real friend,
yeah,
look, if I'm walking in a room and you notice something is out of place, I
yeah,
want you to tell me. Don't let me just look crazy. If I am misbehaving, not representing myself
yeah,
to the fullest and to my best ability, I need you to pull me to the side and I need you to say, listen, Monica, I need you to get it together. You're out of line. I mean, you need those people that are going to be able to check you. And so we all do. That's my children. My children know I love them, but at
absolutely.
the end of the day, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah.
And this probably is not a very good thing for an educational leader to say. My children know I will punch them in the throat if they get out of line. I'm just saying they know this. I'm
That's,
not
you
playing
know
with
what?
you.
I think, a bunch of educators are now are like silently clapping. They're not going to comment, but they're like, oh, we need more of that. Right.
Look,
Because
but
it is,
here's the deal.
yeah.
But you know what? I've not I can't tell you the last time I've had to discipline my children. That's because when
Yeah.
they were little bitty babies, hey, we had it in line. They know what respect. They know yes, ma'am. They know no, sir. They know everything they need to know. So now I have wonderful little angels, but they know.
You know what's funny? I was thinking about this because you mentioned, you're 5'1". My mom, is 5'1" and terrified of her when I was a kid because she was like, "You represent our family, so
Correct.
you better be behaved and all this other stuff." And I grew really fast, and to be over 6 feet tall and be terrified of your 5'1" mom when you're in high school, it's like okay, but she would ground that into our heads, like
called that's
you
called healthy fear. There's
yeah,
nothing.
I love
I
it.
don't think healthy fear is okay. There's a difference, but you got to have a little fear because if not, the children are going to run the world, and I'm a little
Uh,
petrified of what it's going to look like when I'm get a little older.
Telling you, bunch of people,
Hey,
I
but just
agree with you.
know,
We need a little bit more
Paul
of this
Prince.
too.
Okay, well, you just
We need
remember,
this more too. You're
yeah,
right. I agree with you because I think it's, this whole like, hey, we want to be everyone's friend stuff.
uh,
I mean, so like, it's nope, no, like we have expectations. So I love it.
yeah. So
People
just
might not
remember,
like me that I love it, but
Prince.
then we'll see. Then when you're complaining about behaviors, then that's when we gotta have the conversation, right? Because we don't have behaviors in my house. It is
Oh,
not
me,
okay.
I'm glad they know that. Hey, you represent me.
Right.
Look, do not
Yeah.
embarrass me. That's
Yeah.
not what you want to do, or
Absolutely.
you'll bring out the Paul Prince.
I love it. I love it. All right. Okay. Last question. All right. So
What already?
I know that you're, well, we got more. We got more coming up. Don't worry. This is only part 1 and 2. Okay. So
Okay.
you've obviously learned a ton in your career. You talked about, actually not wanting to be in education, coming back. So obviously, you're open to your own learning, open to your own growth. If you can go back to your first year teaching and give yourself some advice, what would that be?
I mean, even today, I would give myself the same advice today that I would give myself my very first day as a teacher. My God, number one, Monica, you do not know everything. You are not expected to know everything because I know if any educator is like me, I'm so self-critical. I am my own worst critic. And I mean, sometimes I criticize myself at a fault because I want to be this perfectionist. Well, you know what? Perfection does not exist. It's all about progress. And so daily, even now, 22 years in education, 22 years later, I am still having to have those same conversations with myself because I am a perfectionist, but I wish I could go back. Maybe if I told myself that very first day on the job, I wouldn't still be dealing with that now, giving myself some grace, letting myself know, hey, it's okay if you don't know the answer. It's okay if you make mistakes. And then also telling myself to slow down a little bit and enjoy the ride simply because it goes fast. So I really wish those very first years I would have enjoyed that group of children a little bit more simply because now 22 years in, it's like, man, I'm still grinding. I'm still at it. However, did I really, really, really soak it all in that very first year? It's almost like a newborn baby. When they get to their senior year, you look back and say, man, I feel like I wasn't. It's like you're in there physically, but are you truly there?
Right.
Because we just want to do it all. I think we also have to realize, that first year I wish I would have said, hey, Monica, you don't have to do it all. focus on what the priorities are. You teach your students to read, you follow your teaks, but just know, hey, you don't have to be this cookie cutter person trying to do all of these 50 million different crafts in 1 week and all that. That was me. I'm a go, 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 go kind of person. And so I wish I could just, go back and say, hey, Monica, give yourself some grace. You're doing good, girl. You're doing all right.
I love it. I think about this all the time, because when you talked about this notion of, people are like, oh, like progress over perfection and stuff like that. I think there's like I don't know if I necessarily agree with this in the sense, because to be honest with you, I'm always striving for perfection, but I also know I'll never attain it. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I think
that's like what I'm striving for. But
you know what I mean? Yeah, that's the thing is that, I when you were saying that, I'm like, oh, we are the same person, because I am very hard on myself, and I actually I feel this about myself. You will never criticize me as hard as I criticize myself. But that's how I keep a standard, right? Like that's how I keep a standard. And I think, I'm not saying I will ever attain perfection, but I'm always striving for it, and little things I do. And I think, that really matters. So I'm gonna say I love you. I was gonna say I love talking to you. I just love you. I think you're amazing. I cannot wait to be with you all, and just so much energy. And I can't wait to talk to you more. But Monica, make sure everyone, you connect with Monica. You see all her socials down below. I can't wait to see you and your community at Elysian Fields coming up in July. But thanks everyone for listening. Monica, thank you so much for being on the podcast.